and welcome to racepush.com. I am your host, Polly, and coming to you from our urban sprawling studios here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It is the ChumpCar NCM Pre-Race Show. Now, before we get into the show, I just wanted to inform you a little bit about racepush.com and what is going on with that. First, we're doing live broadcasting by stream of the races when we have cameras in the cars and they're working and so forth. So we are working on that with specific races, but most of our efforts have been through podcasts. And so if you're not aware of that, if you haven't been privy to our podcasts, you can head over to iTunes and subscribe. Make sure you leave us some comments. Let us know how we're doing. We're getting a great deal of response from that as far as downloads, but we're not getting a lot of information feedback from the people that are listening. So we hope you'll be a part of that. If you'd like to be a part of racepush.com, you can always let us know. You can send us an email to mail@racepush.com. Now, the first thing we want to do whenever we get ready for a race weekend is check the supplementals. So let's head on over to those. We'll check them out and see what's going on at NCM. Okay, so here's the track. We're going to be using the West Course again. Same as that we've used in the past, and we will be utilizing the chicane portion here. So if we page down through here, we can see that Friday is a little different from what's on the schedule because it's actually a track day that day, and if you want to get involved in the track day, if you're not already, you can contact the racetrack and get signed up for Friday to get some track time. Saturday, 7 o'clock gates open, 8 o'clock driver's meeting, 9 o'clock green flag, 4 o'clock's a checker. Same for both days. As far as the subs are concerned, looking through that, there's nothing there that's really earth-shattering or changed from what's been there in the past. If you go down to the next page, you may notice down here it says fuel on site is none. And actually, that's not true. If you've been catching our podcasts, we spoke with Matt Bussey, the track operations manager here at NCM last week, and he explained to us that that they did have fuel available. All you need is a credit card. You can go over there and purchase fuel whenever you want. So, yeah, I sent a message over to Matt just to confirm that was the case. And he said, yeah, no, we have diesel, 87, 89, 93, something called C9, whatever that is, 100 and 110 octane fuels available. And I asked him if that's the case, then what about competitive pricing? You know, is it the same as what you would pay at the local gas stations if you do need to get fuel? And he said the last time he checked, the prices were comparable. So that's good news. You don't really have to go any place to go get fuel. So as far as the roster of the teams that are arriving, 42 teams, you've got 13 returning teams. All of the rest are new to this track. So you've got a lot of returning teams, but rather you've got a lot of new teams that are coming here. And so if you're one of those new teams, you're in good company. And if you are one of those new teams, it'd be a good idea to get some track time on Friday. As Matt explained, and I would tend to agree, it is a fairly technical racetrack, so it is good to get some track time in. But let's take a look at some of the teams that have been here in the past at our synopsis here, if you will. Looking at D-Class, there's a checkered past team, the 155 car. This is their third year with the same car, D-Class car. They finished second last year here on day 2. You know, they just need to keep the car on the racetrack. Obviously, this car has the potential for some good finishes, so we'll hope for them for the best. Looking at the Mach 5.0 racing team, D-Class car, second year here. They won last year's day 2 race and placed second in class on the day 1 race. Now, interesting, you know, this is not the fastest car out there in that class, but they stayed the course and they won day 2. You got to hand it to these guys. You know, they're getting the job done. They're keeping the car on the racetrack, and they're always going to pay dividends for doing that. Moving into C class, Birmingham 2, this is their third year at NCM. and they're debuting a new car to this track. Debuting may not be the best choice of words, because they've also run this car at Daytona, and they had a great finish, finishing 4th in class, 7th overall. They didn't run it at Watkins Glen, but I don't know. With this new car, I'm thinking these guys are going to be pretty strong. They have a lot of experience at this track, but they've never raced this car at this track. Although, to their own credit, they did bring this car here twice already this year in order to have some track time with it. So they do have a good feel for what this car is going to be doing on this racetrack. So these guys are like prep nuts, you know, and I gotta hand it to them. You know, that makes them dangerous for this race. Now, granted, in the past, you know, they really haven't done very well here, and this car isn't all about horsepower like it is Daytona. This car is 475 pounds heavier than an E36. So, of course, you know, he said, well, yeah, but if you take all the garbage out of it, you're taking out several, 100 pounds. I don't know. I don't know if you're taking that much out. I mean, you're taking a lot of weight out of an E36 when you strip it down too. But, you know, this is, these guys, they said, you know, we did a lot of research, and on paper, this looked like the right car for us. You know, the wheelbase and the power that it has, you know, I'll give them that. It's got another 25 horsepower over an E36. But I think, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how competitive they are with it. It's not all about the car, you know, it's about the drivers too. So it'll be interesting to see how things go for them this weekend at NCM. We'll see what happens. Bad Apple Racing, 2nd year, C-Class car, same car. They really didn't perform very well last year. They had under 100 laps for both days for the weekend. But, you know, they're back again. Take another crack at it, see what happens. Hopefully they'll have a better weekend. Chattanooga Touring Wagon, you know, last year these guys were on fire out here. They won the day 1 race. They were a full second faster than the field. So they set the fastest lap time for the weekend. On day 2, they faltered a little bit. They didn't finish quite as well. I found results from Road Atlanta. They didn't really do that well. They finished around 35th in class, and they were around 96 overall both days. So not quite sure what to expect from these fellas, but you know, the car last year, took a look at it. It looked very well prepared. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do really well here again. They know how to win races out there. Gotham City Racing, you know, I had a chance to talk to John. Great guy, great team, solid team. This is their 2nd year here. They're bringing this new EC BMW car in. They've raced C-Class here in the past. They last year finished rather poorly on day 1, but he explained they'd had some brake issues, and they worked hard on that throughout the night, got it fixed, and came out the next day and finished 6th. You know, that's a pretty tough. I mean, that shows these guys know how to keep a car on the racetrack. They fixed it quickly. They got back out there the next day, and they had a really great finish. This is their 3rd car. They started off with a Saturn, and they raced that for a while. When the engine popped, they bought a Ford Contour V6. That's the car up in the pictured up at the top there. And then they got rid of that, and now they're using this 328 in EC class. So, and he said, you know, we're not huge mechanics. We're just very careful with our prep. We buy cars that are pre-race, are already set up for racing. And their main thing is just about getting track time for everybody. They're going to be at COTA. They're going to be at Barber. And they're chasing some mechanical issues right now. But, yeah, it's you know, I think these guys have got their act together, and it'll be pretty interesting to see how things go for them at NCM. Victorious Racing. Yeah, I spoke with Nick. This is a black E30. It's a C-Class car. This is their third year here. They finished 5th in class on day 1 last year, 8th on day 2. You know, they've been racing this car since the very beginning. This was their first and only race car. Interesting story. They've been talking about racing for a couple of years in the beginning, and they started in autocross with some STIs. They have these 5 core members of the team, and so they went on to NASA time trial, started popping engines. So forget about the Subarus. Let's go to Road Atlanta. They decided and volunteered in 2013 at that track just to see what it was all about. Became convinced after that that the E30 was the car of choice. Built the car, and this is the same car that they've had all along. They started racing in April of 2014. They've had 9 or 10 races that they've done since then. So, you know, they're shooting for a podium. I think they could very well get it. These guys know what they're doing. They're a solid team. They've been around a long time, and they know this racetrack really well. Moving into B class, it's the Junk Player Special number 500 car. This B class Jetta. Okay, so first time at NCM for them. They finished at Watkins Glen 8th day 1, 5th day 2. I've just got a good feeling about these guys. On social media, they talked about how they've opened up the fuel filler so they can get fuel in the car more quickly. I know they haven't been here before, but I think if they can get some track time on Friday, I think they're going to be a threat in that B class. I'm just looking for them to do some good things, so be watching for these guys. Zorro Racing, third year here, new car. They finished 2nd in B class last year on day 1 and 6th on day 2. In 2014, they were strong, consistent. I mean, these guys know how to put a race car together for endurance racing, and I think they could definitely be a threat. This is definitely a team to be watching. Auto Body Specialists, the number 126 car, the B class. This is their third year here, but they are bringing a new car. Now, they won both races in their class last year. So these guys definitely know what they're doing. They know how to win races. They know how to put race cars together. They're the real deal. We got to watch these guys. It'll be really interesting to see how they perform with this new car. Team Bitter, second year here, again, bringing in a new bullet. Didn't perform well last year, but with a new car, you know, I look for them to improve. I think that's a lot of teams start out that way with a car that just isn't really getting the job done, but they know how to put it together to make it work, and so they just, you know, they change the chassis and start over. Thing 3 racing for Group A, having some problems with his trailer right now, trying to get things sorted out so he can get his team to the racetrack. This is his third year. Justin Lee, of course, solid race car. I mean, easily can do really well here. Has you know, great leadership. Just, you know, this is a guy that gets things done. The wild card for this team this year, he's got 3 new drivers, all new to wheel-to-wheel racing, which is a real wild card for them. I really don't expect a whole lot from them this weekend. I mean, we got to give them a little bit of grace, right? They are coming in on Friday for testing to get those drivers up to speed. Who knows? Maybe Sunday will bear some fruit. Well, it could happen, and you know, and we certainly hope all the best for them that it certainly will. So let's take a look at this racetrack. There's definitely some tricks to it, and you're going to want to be aware of those things. So again, on the course configuration, back to the same config we had last year. Now, if you haven't been to this racetrack, there's one area or 2 areas that are a little bit tricky that you're going to want to be aware of. And we've run into this before, and that is teams having difficulty finding pit in. And the pit in is right here where my arrow is. You'll see there are two lanes that cut across that connect the track. And this first one is your pit in lane. Okay, so this is a slow hairpin taking you onto the front straightaway. And just past the turn-in point, there is an access road there. Okay, that is the access road that will take you across the closed part of the racetrack and through the arm cove into pit lane. And right here, you will find a line of pylons, cones that will be set up to steer you into that lane. So all you have to do is go down the hill to the hairpin and just keep going. And you'll see the cones are right there, and it's a tight turn. And again, tight turn. You're going to go slowly through here, but you'll see the cones guiding you into that area. So to make it a little bit easier for you to visualize, this is a slow turn heading down right here. The slowest corner on the track is it's a left-hander, okay, at the base of this hill. So as we head down this hill, here's our tight left-hand turn. So again, this is taking us to the hairpin turn that takes us onto the front straightaway, beyond just which is the entry into pit road. All right, so we come over this hill. So it's up and down a little bit and then back up over hill. And right here's the heavy braking zone for the hairpin. There's the pylons you can see. This is the area that's typically open. And this is the hairpin section that will turn you around back onto the front straightaway. So as we go a little bit further, the very next set of cones to your right is pit in, right there. So in this area, you're going to see a row of cones that block off this part of the track because we will not be racing that part of the track. And here is your pit in, right here. So flipping over to the other side of the track, looking at it from the other side, which you will not have this perspective, but just for information purposes only, you would be progressing through here and then through this arm cove opening right here in the pit wall. You'll see there's some black protective padding there, and then it's a hard right onto pit lane, which carries you down the pit lane there. Okay, so looking at the race course, then let's go ahead and take some laps and get an idea of how this course is laid out. First, there's the fast front straightaway here. Heading down, we are going to be using the chicane, so for some reason there are pylons laid out there. They're just kind of hard to see. Some of us are braking firmly at the one panel and diving into the chicane. Others are making our 4-3 downshifts before the turn-in point and getting that out of the way. In the Miata that I was driving, I was doing this right here. So I was stabbing the brakes, turning in, and then making my downshift right here. This is a tight, slow section, kind of a mid-apex section, heading down into turn 2, up to 4th gear on some cars. And you can see just line up with the gators, and it's sort of a constant arc of the turn of the steering wheel. You don't really need to change much. You just start your turn in here, clip, track out, clip, and you never really make it back in all the way to hit the other curbing. You just kind of mid-track it, full throttle, up to 5th here a little bit later. Very fast section of the racetrack, and probably the more tricky and certainly feels like the most dangerous part of the track as you come down here. The turn-in's about at the 1 panel. Some cars it's just a breathe of the throttle. Some are touching the brakes. Some might be able to make it through there flat out. You just gently turn the car in, and you have to begin easing off the throttle and easing into the brakes here because there's a tight, relatively slow corner here at the right. What I was doing was trying to turn in right about here where the pavement, the runoff pavement ends where the grass begins, and begin turning right there. So you're aiming for a late apex here. And at track out, there really is no curbing there. It's just grass. And you can see they let the car track out to the left here and then pull it back in for the apex. To the top of the hill, stab of the brakes, turn in very late. Pretty much all of the corners here are late. So you just want to be late on just about everything. And you should be okay. Very fast through here. Some drivers are beginning to brake around the 4 panel So it's early braking. This is the slowest corner on the track, this slow left-hander, and you can see the Porsche up ahead. He really just pointing the car at the middle of the gators and then turning in. He's getting that right front tire right about in the middle and then turning in. And then back on the power track out, heading up the hill, full throttle, picking up fourth gear somewhere around here. The car wants to track out a little bit, but you can pull it back to the right, or you can pull it back to the left, and that's really what you want to do, because you're going to line up, in our case, for the hairpin, which is right here. Again, the entry to pit road just beyond that. So there's the hairpin, and there's pit in. This part of the track we're not going to be using. So let's, how about we bring somebody in who's going to do us a favor of doing some instruction as well. And let's listen in to what he has to say for us. So he's at pit out at this point. So this is pit out, which skips the chicane.
Just like VIR, opposite, okay? When you come to this first turn, this is like VIR's first turn. Okay. One position of the wheel will take you through this whole thing. And you drift out, just like turn 1, 2. Same thing. And you just cut corners here. Stay to the left.
Here the one panel is missing. It's broken, but it will be there
Very nice.
when you're there.
Fast part of the track. Now, it starts to get complicated. Go late. Everything is late. Wide. Late. Track out. Late. Set you up for the next corner. Late. Now this is a real problem. This is turn 10. Follow this gator gently with the wheel. Track out. Open up. Now this is very dangerous. The most dangerous part of the track. Turn in early, okay? Early there, only in turn 12. The only early turn you got. The rest of it, this is the fast one. Just take it, it's blind, you can't see it. It's fine. Go to the grass. Okay? Here we are. Not too bad. Nice sweeping turn. One turn. In my wheel, I'm not moving it at all. There you go, a little more. Okay. Now it's going to get a little bit of a conniption fit.
So all of this is part of the track you will not be driving.
Go late. Very smooth. Dive down into the sinkhole. Here we go. Watch your car. This is going to unsettle you. Now we have a turn at the end of this damn thing. Turn left, late. And that sets you up for this. Late again. Late again. And now we're back to the straight. This is your straight. So you can nail it. Okay? There's nobody behind us. We're not going that fast.
And here's the crossover section for pits and the turnaround for the hairpin.
I'll go over it again. Of course, we came out over there, so you didn't see this part. Late. Right in the middle. I was a little bit too late on that. I mean, I should have hit that better. Watch emerging traffic. Steer the wheel. Just one position of the wheel. Now open up, drift to try to beat this corner. There you go. Very nice and smooth. Dangerous corner coming up. Come in early for this corner. Way early. Smooth.
All right, and again, that's the part where we would be making the turn for the hairpin. So that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. I am Paulie for racepush.com. Again, give us likes and your comments. Remember, nothing holds better than a good cross thread, and nothing kills like overkill. Until next time, we'll see you later. Keep it safe, keep it fun, and you stay classy. See you later.